Hey, what's up, everyone? You are watching or listening to the My Comic Book Journey podcast. I'm your host, KNDY, and today we shall go back to the year May 1987 with Hero Alliance issue number one. And some of you may be wondering, why does this comic book have so many number ones? Well, I guess you could say with back in the 80s and even the 90s, sometimes when a comic book finds its footing with a independent comic book publisher, that comic book publisher doesn't last. And then so they find a new home somewhere else. And that one doesn't last. Then it finds its home in another comic book publishing company, and so on. Hero Alliance is probably one of those examples where it had difficult finding its footing. Wonderful series to read, but it unfortunately one of the problems is when it keeps on changing. Publishers, and when you have publishers that people have never heard of, um, I would assume there are probably less comic book companies not knowing if they should get it or not, and unless they're familiar with the title. And I would imagine not many people would have that many of these issues, from Pied Piper or even Wondercolor Comics. So the first one, Hero Alliance, end of the Golden Age, came from was based is a graphic novel that was from Piper Comics, based on two issues from another comic book publisher. So after Pied Piper went out of business, Hero Alliance then came out in 1987 with May number one from Wondercolor Comics. And after this, then it went through Innovation, and that's where it stood for many years, well, several years after that. Innovation was definitely one of the bigger independent companies back then. But again, independent companies can go so far. I mean, we've seen it with Malibu and Ultraverse, with wonderful comic book runs, and even Valiant Comics. And even Valiant Comics is still trying to find, it's being bought, sold, and it's always trying to find a new home. It's just a sign of the times with independent companies. They don't have the money and resources such as a Marvel or DC. Well, even DC has been sold, and Marvel's been sold too back then. It's just the thing is that things have remained consistent with that. Those two are always known as the powerhouses, and comic books, they tend to move around. It's just the nature of things. But Hero Alliance, yes, it has moved around quite a bit. So what is this? What is Hero Alliance first? Hero Alliance is a comic book about superheroes, and we learn from the graphic novel that Victor is like the Superman or some superhero, so many different powers, that he is really strong. He's for the good guys, takes on the bad guys, but the problem is teams he's been with been slaughtered by the supervillains. He's alive, and he regrets from what happened. His last superhero team, he was getting tired, because the thing is that it wasn't the same thing as his past teams, and it's 40 years later, and he didn't even give anyone communicators to communicate when they needed help. He took off one day, comes back to find out his team has been slaughtered. But now it's a new dawn, new enemies are out there, and he's saying, you know what, we need to start a new superhero team. And I think that guilt has pushed them to say, hey, we need to do this right. Well, this continues off from the graphic novel, where his mentor, Golden Guardian, who he hasn't seen for many years, he finds out that he's dying because he's elderly, old. He's lived for a long time, while Victor doesn't show his age because he could shapeshift. But while the Golden Guardian, the real person underneath the helmet, is dying because of old age and complications with health, his kids, are pretty much, they're they his son Mark, who's gifted with superpowers, is a bit more evil. Well, he actually is evil. Doesn't believe his father because they didn't have that father and son bonding. And he wants to let the hospital know that the person dying in bed is the Golden Guardian, so they don't have to be stuck with his medical bills. While his twin sister, or his sister, she is a person with powers, but she's more compassionate. And I think that's what hold on here. Try to get her name because I just had her on the tip of my tongue. I was about to say it with Mark. I was going to say Christine, but I could be wrong. But let's see here. I just really hate that when I have the words and I'm thinking of, but anyway, the name will come up. But anyway, we'll just say the sister. Anyway, Victor has a dream. And Victor has a dream that he's fighting the Golden Guardian, who's telling him, "You've taken a lot from me. Are you going to take my daughter too?" And I think that's pretty much metaphor that he's falling for her. And, he doesn't know, out of respect, that he should keep away from her, distance himself from her, because that's mentor's daughter. He's much older. But at the same time, she's a woman, and he's a man. So he has those manly instincts. Anyway, we find out that what happened afterward, what's happening is that Victor is wanting to create a new superhero team. And so he's looking for heroes that will join him in that mission. My gosh, if I'm going to get her name, it's Kim or Christine. Let's see here. Gosh, sorry about that. This is going to be one of those situations that it's going... when you have that thing in your head and you just... Gosh, you can't just let it go. This is one of those situations here. Okay, here we go. Christine. I was right. Christine Dunlop. Okay, anyway. You could tell there's some sexual tension. She's kind of a person that doesn't like to wear much. And you could tell by the costume that she wears that she models after the Golden Guardian. She doesn't wear a bra or anything, so it's peeking out. And I think that's part of the sophisticated readers thing that you see on the cover. It's because you do get quite a bit of that sexual tension. The nips poking out, I guess you could say. It's just something that, I can imagine comic book readers at the time. It's probably the most you're going to get for a comic book displaying that. I mean, things now has changed, of course, but back then it's just, for a superhero comic book, it was a little bit different. But yeah, it's pretty much what's happening with the world. The world is upset at the Golden Guardian's children, and they don't trust them. But Victor is saying, what happened with Mark, it's unfortunate, and that Christine he's vouching for her as a superhero. She has the strength and everything, but she's also mentally, she's emotional. And when she goes to visit Mark, Mark's still the same, doesn't care, and he's still a messed up person. And they're trying to keep him under lock and key, but there's some people who look at these super villains or superheroes, even police are saying, why don't we just off them? Why do we keep them keep these people under in prison when they can easily escape or cause more trouble when they're released, or if they escape? And I think that's what some of the concerns, and with the public, how they feel is definitely understandable. because they have a distrust towards superheroes. They know what with Victor's track record of what happened to his last team, and they still want to ask him questions about that. Why did you let your team die? And they're very harsh. It's very harsh. But at the same time, you have a character that is iconic as a superhero, but times have changed, and these people are being ungrateful because they're like, well, why does this happen? Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you do anything? He's saying, hey, it's just me. I can't do everything by myself. And a lot of people are thinking that, oh, he should do everything. If there's anything wrong in the world, he should fix it. And he's just saying, hey, no, I have a personal life as well. And we do know that in his side life, he owns a lot of businesses. He's also a popular, actor and model. And, he could shapeshift. And that's how he earns his pay. But at the same time, it's just, you kind of feel bad for him because it's really a world that he cannot be happy. He cannot stay still because everyone expects the hero that they read about and their parents told them about 40 years ago. And here he is now. He may have all these powers, but he wants to maintain a normal life. And he has other things that he has going. And he's also a man that has, emotions. And he's starting to have those feelings of wanting to be with Christine. There was usually this panel with Christine taking a shower, leaving the door open, and he's just like, oh, but at the same time he stops himself. He knows that he goes back and forth. Can I? Should I? Or no? Should I? Because he thinks about his mentor, the Golden Guardian, and how much he meant for him. But then now with this woman around him, he's starting to feel that sexual attraction. And I guess you could say he's trying to fight it as much as he can. You got to read on. See, this is the thing. I would spoil it for you, but I'm not going to. I mean, it's just, I know it's a hard comic book to find, but it's a very, very interesting storyline. It's a little complex. It's pretty deep, and I like that. Because Superman, you have things where people, say, we're Superman, and everything, depends on him. But this one, he counters back saying, hey guys, you guys have to do your work too, because I can't do everything. I'm just one person. And, even if they have a superhero team, there's only so much that can be done. So they're just hoping that, with the rising crime rate, that he would be there and help everyone. But again, one person, there's only so much you can do. So yes, I understand the superhero team that they're trying to do. Totally understandable. So that is Hero Alliance. So it's actually, I really enjoy this issue because it is mature in terms of in complex, definitely not for kids. But at the same time, if you want something with a solid storyline, definitely check it out. Again, it's a little bit mature. It has some sexual innuendo. Doesn't go so far to show anything, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you are against nudity in comic books or anything, but yeah, Hero Alliance. I think this is the only one with Wonder Color Comics, and then it goes to Innovation. So, okay, everyone, you take care, and I'll see you later. Wink, wink, and see you later, everyone. Bye bye.